This and every Wednesday, Tobago Talks, as we welcome you to the second hour. That's right. And when Tobago talk, we listen. Martin George, he joins me on the Zoom line, the chairman of the Tobago Business Chamber. Martin, great to see you. Welcome, as per usual, to the show.
Yes, hi, good morning to you, Jason, and good morning to your viewers in CNC3, and good morning, Trinidad, and a special good morning to Tobago.
That's right, and that's where we're going to keep the focus this morning, because we're just coming out of the, the memories very much fresh in everyone's mind, Tobago Carnival, the second installment. Your impressions of the Carnival the second time around?
Okay, well, Jason, I mean, I wasn't a participant this year. However, we got reports from our members and from persons on the ground. And from what we were told is that it appears to have been less organized than persons expected. There was a very late start to the parade on Sunday. I mean, some persons saying that the bands didn't start up here until 3 p.m., and I mean, it definitely certainly seems to need some sort of better planning, marketing, advertising, and structure than how it appeared to evolve. The thing is, if it is that you are creating a new product, all right, and you have to look at product placement, you have to look at the fact that we already have a packed Carnival calendar internationally, right? You have Miami Carnival, you have Atlanta Carnival, you have, New York Labor Day, you have London Notting Hill. So there are many other carnivals you are competing with, including many in the Caribbean. You have Jamaica, where their carnival is, coming, alive at a pace. You have other Caribbean islands. So therefore, you have Barbados with crop over. So therefore, Tobago needs to decide upon a proper strategy and marketing plan in terms of this event that they want to, put there on the Carnival calendar as the Tobago October Carnival. They need to definitely have that type of product placement. So you need to know exactly what you want to do with it. And that did not appear to be evident even in the second year. I mean, in the first year, I think they were given some allowances because persons said, well, maybe they're now, starting off, they're now experimenting. But it seems to have no general sense of direction apart from maybe just, a generalized street block O, is a lime.
Well, yeah, it's interesting you said that, because those were the utterances from PDP political leader of the PDP, Watson Duke. He did a press conference yesterday, and he said that the Carnival, he said it was a bus, and he said it was more or less a bloco. He wants accountability as to where the millions would have gone. Even Winston Gypsy Peters, chairman of NCC, said that greater collaboration was needed with Trinidad to ensure that the Tobago product is fit for purpose. What's your sentiments?
Well,
do they hold any merit
I'm certainly not
with their
making
criticisms?
a political comment. So if it is that the comments aligned with what a politician said, it's purely by happenstance. I'm just making it as a business person and as chairman of the Tobago Business Chamber. But I can tell you definitely that's the impression you got. You looked at several of the scenes from the Juve morning, and it was just a large street party, a large lime, so to speak. And, the thing is, the comments from Mr. Peters, I think, are worth, listening to and, giving some kind of consideration. Because if you recall, Gypsy and myself, we were the first two persons who started publicly advocating for this idea of a Tobago October Carnival, all right? But the point is, I think that they've only gotten half the message, because part of what I had said, and I mean, this is also from a business perspective, I had said that apart from having Tobago's Carnival in October, I had also suggested that Tobago not have any carnival during the traditional February-March period when Trinidad has its carnival. So in other words, you get the double advantage. So in other words, you are able to market Tobago during that time as the peaceful, idyllic getaway. There are so many persons, so many church groups, so many nature lovers, so many, elderly persons who just want a break from the noise and the hubris and the cacophony of sound of Carnival in Trinidad, who would be glad to know that, look, Tobago, there are no carnival activities during that time. They could come, they could relax, they could go to the beach, they could do a nature hike, they could do bird watching, they could, if you understand me. But to still try to have a carnival in February, March, first of all, it's too much, first of all, in terms of the resources that you are seeking to utilize. It's difficult for band leaders to really come up creatively and effectively between October and February with another new band, new concept, new design, new costumes, etc. So therefore, it really seems as if they have missed the boat in terms of what was the initial thinking behind having the October Carnival. And I think that if you ask Mr. Peters, I think that was also part of his thinking, that it should have been a replacement for the February Carnival. So it's something that the THA still needs to look at and consider. And if it is that Mr. Peters, as the NCC, is offering assistance, I see absolutely no good reason why Tobagonians would want to refuse that offer. But there appears to be, I don't know, a growing trend whereby they seem to reject the input, the guidance, the advice from the mecca of Carnival, which is Trinidad, because you saw where they went off, they sent a whole team off to Grenada last year to study Carnival. I mean, what palpable absurdity. You have the home of Carnival right here in Trinidad, but you're sending a team to Grenada to study Carnival. Grenada comes down to Trinidad to study our Carnival, to see what to do and what not to do, So, I mean, there's a bit of backwardness in the thinking of some of the officials in the THC when they do things like that.
I wonder, Martin, if sometimes that's where the ego needs to stay by the door, because, as I said in my monologue, I said it on Monday, I sometimes wonder if with Trinidad getting involved in the Tobago Carnival, if they will want to, I guess the concern is they'll want to come and take over the carnival and tell us what to do and to dictate the Tobago pace. And Tobago, they're not going through that.
But Jason, the fact of the matter is, why be stupid? Why go and try to reinvent the wheel when you have the pattern, you have the model, and of course you tweak it to give it your own uniqueness, your own unique flavor. But why go and try to start from scratch? You're going to try to reinvent fire, or if you understand me, what rubbish is that? You have all the basics, all the fundamentals. You have the persons who have the know-how. Why not try to learn from them, and then now you better it, you master it, you do your own thing. That's what the Japanese do. That's what the Chinese do. They take other people's products, they look at it, they reverse engineer it, and they come out with something better. They don't go and start to reinvent it from scratch when there's something out there that is working. Well, so I mean, I'm not sure I agree with that type of thinking to say, well, you outright reject everything from Trinidad because, you want to do your own thing. Of course you want to do your own thing, but the point is, if you have the fundamentals that persons can bring to the table and say, hey, listen, this is how we could do it, this is how we could look at it, etc., then why not accept that assistance?
Let me ask you, with, I guess, conversations with business leaders there, hoteliers, folks who own guest house, at least I would imagine, okay, there might have been some teething issues, and obviously there is much to improve via the actual Carnival product, but no shortage of heads in beds. What's the business community saying concerning the last week of activity?
The overall figures that we have been hearing, I mean, of course, these are preliminary, and of course, the Hotel Association will confirm what the final figures were, but the overall figures were that it was basically just about 50%. So even that, you have to wonder, because I can tell you for sure, Jason, the Tobago Jazz, when it used to be Tobago Jazz in the first 3 years, that's when CL Financial was running it, that had phenomenally more people in Tobago than this Tobago Carnival event. I could tell you that for a fact. I mean, I remember in those early days of the jazz, my friends in Trinidad will call and ask me, they'll say, well, what's going on? Trinidad empty, nobody here, because everybody's across here. Persons would fly in from abroad and stuff like that. So you need to really seek to position yourself in a way that it becomes a staple on the international carnival calendar. You need to announce the dates early o'clock, let people know so that they can make bookings. Persons who are coming in from abroad, they cannot just jump up today for tomorrow and say, well, boss, are going to Carnival in Tobago. No, they need to apply for the days way in advance. They need to check, they're constantly checking online to see when the tickets are the cheapest, to get the best fare. That's the reality. So why not take those things into account?
So the regional and international pull, clearly there is major improvement to be done in that regard, because clearly the majority of folks we saw on the road would have been from Trinidad going across.
And I still think the largest percentage of the crowd was actually Tobagonians. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Because it looked good there, Martin. I must say, I looked at some of the aerial footage on the road when people were shipping on the highway to come into Scarborough. It looked nice, People like first time, right, people.
Of course. But what I'm saying is, if it is that you are looking at it as a marketing event and as an event to boost your economy, then let's do it properly. Let's not just approach it in this ad hoc manner to say, well, I mean, as they would say in the local parlance, we have a carnival. If you understand me, it doesn't work like that. We have to understand that, look, in the world of business, these things are, they become almost like a science. You talk to persons like Dean Akin, you talk to Caesar's Army, they will tell you, hey, listen, this thing, there are certain parameters that you must satisfy in order to be able to do A, B, C, and if these people have gone through the procedure, right, Justin Sobian would be able to tell you, right, if they've gone through the procedures and they've learned through trial and error, why not seek the benefit of their guidance and their wisdom, even if you want to bring them in just as consultants or advisors? I think last year they had Mr. Sobian as a consultant. I don't know what happened this year, if he was there also. But the fact of the matter is that you really need to try to learn and glean from those who have the experience and the knowledge, and now decide, okay, look, this is how we are packaging it. So therefore, when Gypsy offers a hand, in friendship to say, well, hey, listen, let's partner together next year, let's work together, why not accept it? I've seen some very negative reactions from some persons in Tobago to Gypsy's suggestion.
Well, I go back to your carnival calendar, and you're right. We consider Miami, which would have been at the start of October. That's a massive carnival that's established for many years. So that's
right.
Miami itself, it's a sell. So people go there for the carnival from all over the diaspora, all over the U.S., and people fly from Trinidad and other parts for Miami. Of course, Tobago being right after Miami. So it's so amazing. An officer he's a member of the TTPS. He was there doing his work over the weekend with his comrades. And I saw him yesterday at the gas station, and he made such an important point. He said that Tobago Carnival and Trinidad's Carnival, it should be the alpha and omega. Trinidad should be the start, Tobago should be the official end of the carnival calendar. What could really make Tobago's Carnival, from your lens, your vantage point, your wearing your business cap, and even a cultural cap, because I know you're a cultural man also, what we could do in Tobago to make it really different, to make it appeal to the greater audience, the regional audience, and of course the diaspora? Because again, it's the beads, it's the music, it's the road festival, but there must be something unique that Tobago could bring to the table that will really make it a tremendous success. Even Gypsy said there is limitless potential in the Tobago Carnival product.
And there is, and you see the point is, so therefore that's why I say you have to know what your product is and how you are packaging and marketing it. So in other words, you are supposed to be able to market this as, look, the most fun, relaxing, and enjoyable carnival experience in a scenic setting. Because I can tell you, that stage by the sea is a wonderful idea, because let me tell you, the cooling breezes you get from the ocean, you are there in the hot sun, you're jumping and prancing, and you're not even feeling the effect of the heat because you get such nice breezes coming in from the ocean. So it's a beautiful setting. It's a lovely backdrop with the Scarborough Harbor there, you know. So therefore, you now need to add on to that and say, well, okay, look, hey, we offering you a 1-week package. So you come, you enjoy the carnival, but after that, you know, we tack on to that, you know, a tour to Charlottesville, or maybe an overnight stay in Charlottesville. You know, you stop off at Speyside, lunch at Speyside. You need to start adding those things and make it now a reason for persons to say, hey, listen, I am coming to Tobago, right? I'll set aside a week and I will go and I will enjoy these things, because all these other activities are there along with it. You know, it's not just a question of saying you're adding on more fetes, fete after fete after fete after fete. They could get that easily in Trinidad. So therefore, you now have to distinguish yourself as to how your event is different. You could arrange, for instance, say an a cappella event. Invite, you know, veteran calypsonians, you know, and you have a nice setting. Because, and I'll tell you why that is so important. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I was in Florida at the Hard Rock in Hollywood, and Ed Sheeran performed an a cappella song to end his performance there. And listen, the crowd was spellbound. This man used the acoustics of the arena, and he stood in the middle of the floor, right among all the people, and just sang himself and his guitar. No mic, no sound system, nothing. You could create a scenario for something like that. That kind of event would be a sellout event. There's so many places in Tobago where you can have a lovely setting, like how, for instance, in Mount Turban, they usually have something on the beach for All Year's Night. So you could have like a moonlight beach, you know, setting with your candles, your flambeau, whatever. You serve some food, some drinks, and people just sit there, relax. You have a person like Lord Relator, David Rudder, you know, some of the, and they just come, they strum, they sing, and that's the kind of thing you have to do. You have to think differently. Don't think that you go in and compete with, you know, say for instance, CIC Fete or QRC Fete or Bishop's Fete, and you go in and throw Fete after Fete. You have to also think in terms of other ways that you can now put together a package that is unique and different, but entirely compelling.
Well, Martin, let me tell you, spot on this morning. Spot on this morning. I wish we could continue for the rest of the hour, but I want to thank you for the perspective. And listen, you know, it's a product that, you know, it will grow. It will continue to grow, and as Gypsy said, limitless potential, and hopefully some of your recommendations could come into reality.
All we could do is sow the seed and hope that it falls on fertile ground.
That's
the Bible tells us that.
Martin, thank you so much, and thanks for that Tobago Carnival recap. All the best.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Wow, Martin George coming in there as the chairman of the Tobago Business Chamber, and for a minute there I thought he was the chairman of NCC. The man brought some hard recommendations to the table. Good morning, Tobago, and let me tell you, the Carnival, listen, you know, as everything else, this is just the second year, and it will continue to grow, and it will get to that particular place.